and gentlemen, we are back. We apologize for the delay, man, but we kept y'all busy with some content, so you keep us busy with some subscribers, new subscribers, some shares, some comments, some likes, all that good stuff, man. We're back. We had to do a couple of maneuvering because of some previous episodes didn't work out, unfortunately. So I made a executive decision and decided that this is actually going to be episode 21 after a couple of weeks of unfortunately not being able to post a full episode. One of those was on me. I'll take it. I'll take it. The other one, however, I will put the full blame on Tyler. That was his fault. But here we are now.
And I'm scot-free. For the first time, I'm scot-free, guys.
No,
I'm not the problem.
You're not scot-free for the reschedule on Friday. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, he screwed us over.
Oh, my God. Whatever.
That's how we're gonna start the podcast. No sports related. Let me tell you how this man decided that he's gonna reschedule for an event that he knew was coming 365 days in advance. Every year on the same day this occurs, and somehow he did not remember until Monday or Tuesday of the week of.
Now, wait. Pluto, what event is that?
What do they call it in Game of Thrones? Your name day? Is that what they call it? Your name day?
I'm not going to lie, y'all. I smoked a joint before this podcast. You guys are ambushing me. HR.
I just wanted to make sure the Hoop Talk community was aware. But let's go ahead and get started, man. I'm going to give Tyler the floor. Tyler, you're going to get us started today with some WNBA talk. You're the most familiar. You watch the most games. Tell us about the WNBA preseason. The season's going to kick off tomorrow. We're finally going to get some WNBA action. Playoffs are going to be winding down within the next month or so, give or take, depending on how those series go. So we're going to have a lot of WNBA to talk about. Tell us about the preseason. Let's start with the rookies. All these new additions in the draft. Anybody that stood out, anybody that's worth mentioning.
So we haven't seen too much yet, of course. There was some small teams in the preseason that we got to see. Valkyries looked kind of interesting. The Lynx look like they're setting up to be, a title contender once again. The real key thing that I'm seeing this season right now that I really want to talk about before the season starts, the WNBA does some weird stuff with their draft. I still think it's weird. I don't understand why they do it. There's 12 teams in the league, and they draft 3 rounds of players, meaning in total they draft 36 players, 3 for each team. This week, I don't know the exact number, so I apologize. I am almost certain that I've seen 45 players that just got drafted be cut already, and drafters are not fully finalized yet. And that's only this week. That's not counting for anything else. So there's a ton of players that are really interesting, new and old, that have been cut. Diamond DeShields, for example. Shine Sellers. There was a really tall point guard coming out of Kansas City, I believe it was. And I forgot her name, starts with an S. 6'2", cut as well. Like a lot of people that I was kind of interested in seeing are just not going to be playing anymore. The ones I am excited for, Paige Beckers, obviously. We do have the Golden State and the Los Angeles Sparks matchup coming up on Friday. I'm very excited for that because Kim Brake may be back. We haven't really got any confirmation on that. But for the most part, man, it's a lot of sad news right now. It's a lot of sad news. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I think I learned that last year that the WNBA draftees don't make it. When you scale it, of course, their draft is smaller, but when you scale it to comparison to the NBA, I believe I read somewhere that they lose more players by what's the word I'm looking for? Like, if you scale it to match, because of course they have less players, but by the league size, they lose more players in the draft than the NBA does. Or like players don't make it long term more often than the NBA.
Like percentages?
Yeah, like percentage-wise, essentially. I believe that's what I read. I don't know if that was 100% correct, but based on what Tyler's saying, it might be.
Last season, for example, 36 players were drafted once again. Only 15 were on a roster by the time the season started. 21 total people were cut. That's crazy.
You gotta be elite in the women's NBA. Like you have to be an elite player. That's one thing I do gotta give them a little credit. I hate the way it goes down, but they're super elite players like that get cut all the time. Like That's one thing. I mean, I'm not into it like you, Tyler, but I did notice that like it was most of the news like through the preseasons are cuts. Like it's just cuts. And a lot of these players are like really young players that are probably going to end up playing overseas anyways, and they kind of already knew that probably prior to the draft most of the time. So it's kind of it's crazy. It's crazy. They prepare for this stuff.
Yeah. It's harder than the NBA too, because the requirement of the WNBA is I don't know if it's exactly 4 years of college or if it's 4 years removed from high school. I believe it's college for the U.S. These people go through all of their eligibility and then they can't go back like you can currently in the NBA. Like that's kind of rough as well. They have to
Yeah.
go overseas. Sedona Prince, very controversial person in the WNBA. Obviously, we beat up her girlfriend and things like that. She's expected to be drafted though. Expected to be drafted in the top 15. She isn't drafted, and now she's in Greece. Rightfully so, though.
Wow.
She did beat up her girlfriend. Keep that in mind.
That's unfortunate. Unlike the NBA, that stuff happens and you get back in the league apparently. But that's neither here nor there. Speaking of
Man,
rookies,
shout out to my guy.
that's a terrible time to shout him out. But speaking of rookies, I saw Paige Beckers have a crazy pass just recently. I forgot against what team, but has she been showing any interesting highlights or any interesting moments throughout this preseason?
So I have not watched most of the Dallas Wings games. I will be fully transparent in that. I've only watched a few games with my girlfriend. Honestly, it looks like she hasn't exactly found her footing. Her shot hasn't been falling just yet. She's getting to the rim with ease. I think that's something that she'll always be able to do. But as of right now, we haven't seen anything crazy from her yet.
What about trade players this offseason? A lot of them, Kelsey Plum, Lexi Brown. Lexi Brown not a marquee player, but a lot of players have been traded. Any players on new teams from trades that have shown an interesting performance on their new teams?
This time, I have not seen that much. I will be transparent. I have not watched that much. I'm not as big on preseason, even in the NBA.
Well, then I guess we'll skip the next one as well. But
What's
the
the
NBA,
next
or not the
Maybe I
NBA,
have
the
the answer.
WNBA, huh?
What's the next one? Maybe I have the answer.
New signings. Any new signings that have shown anything?
Okay. Let's keep it going. Preseason for the NBA sucks. Preseason just boring.
I'll never you'll see highlights and people will make their their own little takes and assumptions based on little things that they see here and there. But it's fine. Moving on to the NBA, we can talk about the elephant in the room. The NBA community is on blast because the Dallas Mavericks pulled off the robbery of a century. Ladies and gentlemen, this is worse than the Knicks getting Patrick Ewing. The Dallas Mavericks got the number 1 pick. You guys feel free to share your opinion. I'll let you guys go first.
Well, wait. We have to give context. Nas, what were they expected to pick?
1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick. They were expected to go 13th, I want to say, or 14th?
11th.
11th?
They're expected to go 11th. They've never had the number 1 pick. Did you know that in history?
Oh, really?
I never knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Conveniently, the last time we saw the Lakers do a trade with the team, they also got the number 1 pick. Do you remember that?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis.
That's funny that you mentioned that. I had that on my notes, actually. I was going to say that's actually this is the third time a superstar player has been traded to an LA team. Shockingly enough, technically speaking, the first one I'm about to mention also got traded to the Lakers. But let's go back in time. Anthony Davis would be the second one that you just mentioned. He got traded to the Lakers in New Orleans, immediately got a number 1 pick off of it. Chris Paul actually did technically get traded to the Lakers once upon a time. We all remember that story. It did not work out in LA. It did not work out on the Lakers. It did work out in LA. A superstar getting traded to LA, and the Hornets also received the number 1 pick right after that. So this is the third time a superstar has been traded to the Lakers, and immediately after that, their team that traded that superstar got the number 1 pick. I'm not... Actually, Yolanda, you go, and then I'm going to give my spiel because I got an interesting one here. Go ahead.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm real Uncle Ruckus with my take. I do not believe in conspiracies. Tyler kind of tried to explain the draft odds to us. Me and Nas weren't with it right now. We need like a PowerPoint explanation. He was trying to just explain it over conversation. But trying to just go into it. I think this is
This man
good
just
for the
told the world how
NBA.
stupid I am. Go ahead.
I
It's
never
true,
said
though.
you were
It's true.
dumb. You're just not fast enough.
Just not smart enough.
So,
That's basically what he was trying to say. That's crazy. This is a crazy podcast. I can't believe this
so
is what I'm
people
going
are
through.
okay. We're not gonna have to take about learning. All right. Anyways, so the thing, what I wanted to get into was the Dallas Mavericks getting the number one pick. We were in the group chat chatting about it, just with what Nico should do and what Nico shouldn't do. We had our opinions and we voiced it, and I think we kind of came to one common ground, which I was my take regardless. I do think this is good for the elephant in the room, which is really Cooper Flag. That's really the elephant in the room. Number one pick is dope, but where he was going was going to be a big deal. Kind of anticipated because everybody's just worried about his trajectory. How good can he be? What is his ceiling? I don't think I've really remember an NBA player where like that I can remember other than like LeBron. And I'm not saying that he's from Dallas or anything like that. More so that we were so interested in where his fit would be. Where would he go? Where would he what would he could he become wherever he goes? I think in Dallas he's surrounded by a lot of rugged wings. PJ Washington. You got what's his name? The backup
What
small
does he do? I'll
forward
tell you.
who fills in for huh?
Najee Marshall,
Go ahead,
Dante
Tyler.
Exum.
Yeah, they have a pretty like a rugged a small forward unit, a forward unit. They're all kind of tough guys. They all kind of like work together on defense, and I think this is a good space for a player like himself who's able to kind of grow in that wing position. He'll have a lot of older brothers, you can say, who can teach him the ropes and things like that of being a great wing defender because I think he has a capability of being a great NBA defender at the end of the day with his athleticism, and I think this is a good start for him and a good fit. They don't have to rely on him. They don't need him to like be the guy. They can let him grow into that. Fill those shoes in. You have AD. You have Kyrie. It's a very deep team. Derek Lively. Just I think it's a solid foundation for him when it comes to learning curve and what he can be. I mean, Dallas Mavericks has always been a great franchise. They've never been like one of those franchises that we, turn an eye to. Other than the recent talks of their franchise. But other than that,
How'd you feel about them getting the
no
first pick,
letters.
though?
It's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's not something that no one predicted a play-in team getting their first. It's crazy. I don't really have it. Like to me, it was more like I said in the group chat when we were texting back and forth, Tyler. To me, it was just more that they even got to a first like a 4 round, the first top picks when they got the balls in there. They were projected as a first, 4 picks. To me, that's the crazy part. That they won so much and got into the playing game, and now they get the number one pick. I just think they put a cherry on top they can put a cherry on top of
Yeah.
their ice cream with this pick for sure.
I,
Before you go, Nas, real quick, just one thing I want to say. I think if you go to the plan, you should automatically be disqualified from the lottery. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
that's similar to what I was just
you can
about to
say
say. I was going to say the two teams that don't make it to the playoffs should automatically get a bottom 4 pick in the lottery. That's what I think should happen. You can get a 10th or 11th pick if you're lucky enough. That's cool enough. But your lottery odds should only be between 10 and 14. Actually,
Yeah.
11 and 14 technically would be the bottom 4. We can make it 10 to 14. I think that's fair as well.
I
Go ahead.
I think the reason the NBA doesn't do that though is because you know how many teams would lose on purpose for like a first 5. Like we've seen NBA teams say, "F this season, whatever, scratch it." Like we've watched Utah, we've watched Philly. Trust the process. I just think it's too much of an incentive to lose. Like losing should not be an incentive sometimes. Like that's just my only take on that. That's why I never mentioned it to you guys.
But it wouldn't be an incentive.
need help.
You're going to go in the lottery regardless, and statistically speaking, you're still most likely to get those picks anyway. I think it should be a guarantee that you're going to get those picks. I don't think it should be a chance for you to get anywhere from 1 to 9 when you just went to the play-in and we're one game away from going to the playoffs. I think that's a bit unfair. But, I mean, it is how it is at the end of the day. I am not big on conspiracies in general. I have a very short list of conspiracies that I can get on board with the millions of conspiracies that this world has put together. But I do believe there is something to look at here. I mean, it's not about the Mavericks getting it specifically. It's the concept of this is the third time an LA team got a superstar who was a budding name in the league, a growing phenomenon in the league. We're talking about Chris Paul, looked at as the best point guard in the NBA for a short periods of time, for a few years of his career, right? We're talking about him going to a market like New Orleans where his team wasn't the most electrifying, his franchise wasn't the most interesting. He ends up in LA, a much more marquee franchise. He was supposed to go to the Lakers. He ends up on the Clippers. The Clippers not the same level of marquee as the Lakers, but it's still LA. It's still California at the end of the day. Anthony Davis, he was a budding superstar. He was a superstar throughout his career, but he was a budding name in the NBA. He was rising and rising and rising in a market where he could not maximize the amount of income he could generate for the league, for the franchise. Where can he do that? In LA, right? Luka Doncic, same situation. He cannot maximize the situation that he's in on a financial basis for the league and for the franchise being in Dallas. Dallas being a little bit of a higher market compared to the other two we mentioned. Well, technically, it was the same team both times. So the other team that we mentioned, Dallas is in a bit of a better situation, but historically they've been cheap. Historically, they've been a team that doesn't really focus on big names and big super teams and all that kind of stuff. They're typically winning off of the role players and the veterans and all that kind of stuff, which again is boring and it's not marketable in comparison to other teams. So you're looking at these players, budding names of their generation, looked at to be the next big thing. Maybe not the best player for everybody, but one of the best players of that generation, of their prime, end up in a team in LA coincidentally, and then their team gets the number one pick. It gives the vibe of send this player to LA for us to increase our ratings, for us to increase our viewership, for us to increase the marketability of this player who we believe is going to be big time, and we'll pay you back with a high pick next year. You know what I mean? Like, it gives that vibe. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that's what happened, but one thing you can't say is that theory is impossible. That's what you cannot say.
Because also keep in mind, we've been talking for the last 4 years, Steph Curry, LeBron, they're all going, ratings keep going down. Who's the next person to take over? Who's the next LeBron, the next Jordan? He goes to LA, the biggest market in sports. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like a good deal there. I think it's weird. It's very weird. Also, keep in mind, I just checked. There's only 2 instances of a team that I could see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't look at this. That were projected to pick 11 to 14th, anywhere in that range, that have moved up to the top 5 odds. Not even like number 1, but the top 5. The Orlando Magic got it in 1993. In 2019, the Lakers pick that ended up going to the Pelicans. They got it. So now this is the third and the fourth time that we've seen this, or just the third. I'm sorry, the Spurs weren't up there. I don't know, man. That's kind of, there's got to be something there. This is exceedingly rare.
Yeah, it's the situation repeating itself 3 times now. It's man, it can't be a coincidence anymore. 1 time, it's a coincidence. 2 times, it's interesting. 3 times, somebody's doing something somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
The timing is just so bad, bro. I don't know. I don't trust.
And why is it LA every time though? That's the thing, bro. Why is it LA every time? Chris Paul, again, bro. I'll say it again. I'm sorry for being repetitive, bro. Chris Paul, best point guard of his generation for at least 3 or 4 years, I would say. Right? Am I wrong to say that? Easily, right?
So.
Anthony Davis was injury prone, but was perceived to be the next big thing in the league. People really genuinely thought that there's potential that this guy could be a top 3. There's a chance you could say for at least 1 year of his career he was a top 3 player in the NBA. Possibly. Maybe top 5 if you don't agree with that. Right? For at least 1 year of his career. Luka Doncic, we know for a fact, has been a top 3 player for multiple points in his career so far, in his very short career. You know what I mean? And they go to LA, and that team, I hate to say it, gets rewarded with the #1 pick. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
My take on this is we got to start looking at Rob Pelinka a little different. I know he's not. I mean, he was there for the 2 major ones. He is the innovator between those 2 trades. But like, you guys ever heard of like people that work for the government? Right? They'll work for the government for a little bit, whatever, and then they work for like a private company because the private company is going to pay more than what the government does. That's how I feel about Pelinka right now. Like, I think Pelinka can pull strings that we're not even aware of. Maybe it's not you'll get the first round pick. Maybe we'll make sure you get in the top 4. I can get into that side of things and kind of just creep in and see. Oh,
but that was the Mavs pick though. That wasn't the Lakers pick.
That's what I'm saying. He probably had that conversation. Adam Silver was somewhere on 3-way. There's no way LeBron doesn't know that AD's getting traded. There's no way you don't do that to LeBron. And if LeBron doesn't know, he's pissed. I don't care.
I don't think so.
There's no way LeBron doesn't know that's happening.
You don't think LeBron would be happy to be surprised he got Luka?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's a risk.
I don't know. I mean, anybody would be surprised if they got Luka. Like, we gave up we gave your best player up. You get Luka. Like, no, any team in NBA is gonna be happy. There's no one who's gonna be like, man, we got Luka. Fuck. Like, if anything, people would do that more for Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying?
That's his point, though. So, like, why wouldn't you surprise LeBron?
He tells LeBron, but LeBron actually leaks this to Luka. The whole trade's done now. Can't happen.
Man, that he's getting the first call though. He's definitely getting the first call
after it happens. Yeah,
there's no one
after it. Yeah.
He's because the fact that they even played with him like that is crazy. But I mean, he took it in good spirits, and they made it work to a certain point.
They only had 2 days to figure it out, right? They only talked for 2 days.
Literally 2 months. 2 months.
No, they were talking for weeks.
Months.
Yeah. It was at least a couple weeks, but I think 2 months is what I read too. This was ongoing. They did not want Luka anymore. They were adamant.
I mean, you got to think about it. Nico was AD's man. Nico is what Rob Pelinka was to Kobe Bryant. Like, that's his right-hand man. If anybody's going to think any high, great value out of Anthony Davis, is the guy who built him up. Nico and Anthony Davis have a history, you guys. That's why I'm not really feeding into the conspiracy. He's been big on Anthony Davis. He was there to create his career. He was a pivotal part of the Brow, everything. Like, there's videos of Kobe, Nico, and AD playing around. Like, they've been connected before. This is not new. That's why that trade didn't blow me like it was blowing everybody else, because, like, they have a history. They know each other. You know, he worked for him at one point, I'm pretty sure, or did some type of mentoring.
Yeah, but it blew everybody's mind because nobody knew it was going to happen.
No, that's for sure. But I'm saying, like, the conspiracy theories afterwards don't really matter to me because, you know, he can think very highly of this guy because he curated this guy. He developed this guy, you know? Like,
I don't think it was actually, like, I don't actually believe it happened, but it's like, it's very coincidental 3 times now, which is, like, cause for...
That is weird,
I would
though.
understand
That's
people
weird.
being like, yo, this is kind of weird. This happened 3 times now?
No, it's
like,
weird.
I don't even wake up on time 3 times in a row. They drafted 3 times perfectly like this. That's crazy.
Yeah. And what was the Lakers?
I'll give you that.
What was the Lakers pick odds that year that they got Zion? What was
11th?
11th? That's crazy.
They went to 4.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh wait,
that's actually
the Lakers with Zion.
No, the Lakers pick is what got them Zion, right? It wasn't a Pelicans pick.
No, it was a Pelicans pick.
Oh, it was a Pelicans pick? Oh, okay. Oh, they got Jackson Hayes with the Lakers pick, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Okay. Never mind. I was going to add
but
fuel
also,
to the fire.
if you look at it, every single time it has not been the Lakers or the Clippers pick that's been used. It's been that team's pick. That's why it looks even more fishy. I don't know.
What was the Pelicans odds then? 4, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not as crazy.
I don't know what the Pelicans are.
They were pretty bad. So
Pelicans were,
actually, weren't
yeah, they
they
were
that
really
bad?
bad. No, they were bad.
Fourth odds though. I don't know if they were that bad.
No, they
Were
weren't
they even the
fourth
Pelicans yet?
odds. Fourth odds.
Yeah, I mean that was probably 1 year after they made it to the second round of the playoffs with Drew and Rondo. That's probably only 1 year
Drew
after
and
that.
Rondo were no, Drew and Rondo were with AD and Boogie.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That was only
Okay,
one.
okay, my bad. I got no. I got something mixed up. You're good. You're good. I'm wrong. Yeah, I get
The
what you're saying
Pelicans
now.
moved from 7th to 1 that year.
That's not
That's
as
not
crazy,
bad.
but yeah, it is just the coincidence is crazy, bro. But I'm not gonna fill anybody's ears with conspiracy theories. I'm just saying, bro. The one thing you can't say is that it's impossible that it's happening. That's what you can't say. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Moving on, though, we got the playoffs, man. It's gonna be our final topic for today. We're gonna go through every series. Two series have concluded, so we'll start with those. Unfortunately, the second round of the playoffs have ended or are ending much faster than some teams would have preferred. One of those teams went sleepless, or their superstar went sleepless the night of that loss, unfortunately, watching the game 3 times over, trying to figure out how the fuck did we lose. But the Indiana Pacers, ladies and gentlemen, have taken down the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1. That series ended much sooner than they expected. Injuries occurred. Darius Garland played hurt. Donovan Mitchell left the game early. A lot happened there, man. But the first question I have for y'all: was the series still winnable with those things
Yes.
happening?
No.
Yes.
If they played correctly, that's my point. If they played the right way with maximum effort and put their best foot forward, could a
So
Cavaliers team still pull it off?
Without
I'm not a
injuries,
research guy.
like
With
Yeah.
injuries, like they still had their players, right? So let's discount Garland as the only one that can get an exception here because he was the most hurt out of everybody. Everybody else played for the majority of that series. Two players missed one game. Donovan Mitchell only missed a half. He played the next game. He probably played hurt, but we don't know how hurt he could have been. If they put their best foot forward, because the injuries isn't the only reason they lost. That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't play their best either. My thing is, with these players missing action, if they would at least have played the right way, could they have won this series?
No. 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 I didn't even know Darius Garland was hurt before the first game until Tyler said something to me because I don't do research like that. So
I
no.
think he missed
No,
two
I
games the
never
what
series
did you
before.
suggest that Garland should do,
Prior-
Kudo? What did you
play
say he
through
should
it.
do? And he
And
came
good
back.
job.
And how bad was it?
Way to show
And
me
how
you're a
bad was
man.
it?
I love it. Hopefully
No,
your
bro,
toe heals
he
this
re-injured
summer, though.
himself. He didn't need to do that.
Well,
They lost.
I heard Cancun. I heard Cancun's have really good doctors. So, my thing, and I'm gonna go on this because I was the only one to pick the Pacers. I don't. This, I mean, injuries have helped the Pacers out these last 2 years. I am not blind to that. I don't think that it's anything that's crazy. The NBA knows it. I think for me, the surprise is Halliburton coming into his own fruition. This was a big series. This was to test who he was as a player, and he did a hell of a job. He held his team to a certain standard the whole time. He played great basketball. At times, I know he had a couple games where they deleted him and he became mute. But other than that series, if you're looking at the whole picture, he played great. But this has to do something bigger than anything else. The Pacers play style is insane. If you watch a Pacers game, it literally is like their pace, and it's no pun intended. Like it's like watching like the NASCAR out there on the brick road. It's like the same type of vibe. They play very fast. They play very strong. They have Miles Turner, who is Tep, he's not a regular big man. He can shoot. He can step back and take the three. He can hit a mid range. Not the best post up player, but he did pretty good. He did pretty good on the way they played defense. They played a 3-2. He was posting up those bigger small forwards they would put on the left block and destroying them. Him and Pascal. I honestly, I watched this series the most because I had the most money. I feel like on it. But honestly, the Pacers look like a dark horse team, and I think they have the ability to win like the Eastern Conference. They're the deepest team right now, I think, as well. Yeah, left in the East at least. So I just big ups to the Pacers.
Am I correct in saying that the Rick Carlisle Mavs were more of a half court 3-point shooting team? Is that an accurate description?
No, it's not inaccurate. That's how they
with
beat the Heat.
with like Luca.
With I mean, I'd say mostly with Dirk.
JT, Jason Kidd, that era.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
yeah.
were a 3-point shooting team.
What'd you say?
They were a 3-point shooting
He
team.
said they were a 3-point shooting.
I would agree with that.
I would agree.
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
I was just curious if they were more of a half court set type of team. So the reason I say that is because I wanted to make sure I didn't sound stupid for giving Rick Carlisle props. From being able to go from a team like the Mavs, he wasn't with Luca for that long. What, 1 year, maybe 2? How long was he with Luca?
Got right up out of there.
Was he with Luca for like 4 years, 3 years?
No, there's no way. 4?
I think he was with Luca for like 2 years.
Either way, that's not important. My point.
Got the job.
That's not important. My point is his adjustment to a brand new team and a brand new set of players, new personnel. I think he deserves a lot of credit to be able to go from, the Dirk Mavs and playing a more half-court oriented team, trusting veterans to do their job and kind of playing around that old school style of basketball to go to the Pacers and mold a system around this new player like Haliburton, around the what Miles Turner brings to the table, adding Pascal Siakam, who has always been a transition power forward, likes to push the ball in transition, likes to handle the ball. He's more of a small forward in a power forward's body, I would describe him. To be able to adjust and make this Pacers team so good, especially in the playoffs. Yeah, of course they have had injuries work in their favor. That is obvious. But it doesn't stop them from obviously playing at a great level in the playoffs. And Tyrese Haliburton deserves a lot of credit for that. He played phenomenal last year for a couple spurts. He did have a questionable playoffs in regards to his consistency. He wasn't all the way there. He was hurt as well. But he may take him to the conference finals at the end of the day. This year he's been relatively healthy in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, and he's played his ass off. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's not shied away from the big moments
at all.
All these players are doing a great job. Rick Carlisle is doing a great job, and I did not have them beating the Cavs. That is for sure, regardless of what the reason might be in anybody's perspective. They did it. That's all that matters. And with the Celtics most likely getting eliminated, the Pacers have a realistic opportunity to go to the finals this year. A real opportunity. And before Tyler goes, I'm going to pose the question here. If that happens, is Tyrese Haliburton a better Pacer than Paul George?
No, that's my question I was going to ask. You can't do this.
Oh, go ahead.
So
word it your own way.
I was saying, who is the second best Pacer of all time? Because I think the best is obvious. It's Reggie Miller. But I have a better question. Actually, you guys answer that first. I think yes. I think if they win a championship, Tyrese is undoubtedly better. You go ahead, Pluto.
The finals only.
Yeah, I think right now he's already in consideration for the second best Pacer. I think already.
I agree.
Yeah, I think taking a team back to back to the Eastern Conference Finals, win, lose, or draw there. I don't think Paul George really ever did that. I think did he?
They went to the conference finals more than once.
No,
I don't think the
not
Pacers
with
ever
the
went
Pacers.
to the conference finals. They were playing the Heat pretty early.
No,
they definitely had to go to the conference finals at least once.
Yeah, they've won once. They won once. I don't think they've won more than once with Paul George in his tenureship.
Yeah, that's possible. But either way, keep going.
Either way, my whole point is back to back, carrying the city. He loves being a Pacer. Like, he endorses it. I remember I saw a video or a clip where he's like, Joel Embiid, come play with us. Like, he endorses being there. He loves that city. He embodies it right now. And real quick, because you said something that really kind of, like, made me think about something. I don't think he's quite the defensive player that Jason Kidd is, but their play styles on offense are not that different when it comes to pushing the ball ahead and being that three-point shooter. And I think Rick Carlisle does really good with a traditional like point guard, and I think Luka wasn't that for him at the time. I think he does better with players that are more traditional, but he's also in that space where these players can also be non-traditional players. Like Pascal can play like a traditional power forward, post you up, but he also has the ability to push the ball up the court. Miles Turner can defend the paint, but he also has the ability to step down and take the three-pointer. So I think those players still being somewhat traditional and non-traditional at the same time really does help him out. And I wanted you to point that out to you. I don't think there's a big difference between Jason Kidd and Tyrese Haliburton, other than defense.
I think offensively, they have a similar play style. They both had a questionable shot. They're both pretty good finishers for their size. Obviously, Jason Kidd is a much better defender. We
Way
know
better
that.
passer.
But like in the in the full court in transition, you do see a lot of similar passes. You do see them controlling the ball very well.
Yeah, they do share a lot of similarities, but I cannot agree that they're not far apart. They are far apart. Jason Kidd is a top 10 point guard of all time, top 5 in some people's list.
No.
But that's because of defense as well.
On the ladder. I'm saying of the type of their archetype.
Yeah, their archetype is similar. I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I want to say something to what you said,
point
though.
Guard. Oh, go ahead.
Pluto, because one thing I wanted to point out when we were talking about the Mavs earlier, and I didn't get to talk about it. Jason Kidd, Rick Carlisle was only fired from the Mavs at the same time that Nico was coming in. It was kind of a clean sweep of their front office where they brought in Jason Kidd. I don't think that the Mavs were underperforming at that point in 2021. Say it?
Rick Carlisle quit. He didn't get fired.
Yeah, he quit before they fired him.
Quit because the writing was on the wall that he's going to be fired with the new GM coming in. So I think that Rick Carlisle has always kind of been this player. Even at that point, the Mavs were not doing bad up to 2021. They were kind of right on track from what we would expect from a superstar like Luka. They had been to the playoffs. They had some successful seasons. They had some down seasons. It's just how it works. Rick Carlisle out-coached Kenny Atkinson on 2 or 3 of the games. I would genuinely say, though,
bad.
I don't think it was as bad as, like, I don't know what you could possibly game plan when your key rotation players, and I'm talking like heavy minutes between Ty Jerome, between Jared Allen, between Dean Wade, like those were their guys that are meant to step up in the playoffs. How do you adjust if they are playing the most like timid, bad basketball possible? Ty Jerome, his signature shot is a floater. I am not even kidding. In one of those games, I saw him take 7 of those almost completely wide open. He's missing those. His point guard is injured. His defensive player of the year is injured. His wing stopper, DeAndre Hunter, is injured. Like, what do you do? Like, what adjustment do you make?
Well, I will say this real quick, Tyler. They ran into some fucking dogs. Those forwards on the Pacers are some dogs. Ben Mathurin, their starter, Neesmith, Nemard. Man, the list gets longer with their forwards. Those forwards aren't like pushovers. They're dogs. So when you're running into some dogs, man, you got to be careful.
And you have no dogs.
That's one thing about the Pacers. And then TJ McConnell off the bench. TJ McConnell off the bench. I think he's a dog. I think he's a tempo, like a heartbeat of the team.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, like you're big on him, Tyler. I never understood why you were so big on him. But he literally, when he steps off the court, that offense is ran the same way. It does not change. Other than like his little loop around behind the backboard that he loves to do. Other than that, like the offense stays the same. It doesn't adjust. They don't need to switch out. Their personnels are kind of like similar. You got Thomas Bryant, who can kind of do the same thing Miles Turner can do, where he can step down, take the 3, or cut the lane and dunk it, plays decent defense, part of that Lakers championship team as well. Like, the Pacers are deep, bro, and I've been saying this for a while, but I didn't understand how deep they are. And they got a hitman. They got Joe Johnson, just in case things get a little crazy.
Yeah,
Not Joe Johnson.
They have,
what's his name?
That's
Johnson.
a very
my bad.
James Johnson. It's a very well constructed team. I don't know if they win the finals. I would be willing to bet, though, knowing that they go against the Knicks next and knowing how well they match up against the Knicks, I would be willing to bet that the Pacers make the finals.
Yeah, I think it could go either way for sure. But I favor the Knicks in that series, but I do believe the Pacers have everything they possibly need to win that series. It's not a situation where it's impossible for them to win. They have everything they need. Everybody just needs to show up. Everybody needs to do what they're supposed to do. They have the defenders. They have the scorers. But On the other side of things, it's also the same deal. They have the defenders, they have the scorers, they have the pace to keep up, they have the 3-point shooting. So everything's gonna be there. I favor the Knicks, but I 100% think the Pacers can get it done.
Can we
I have
go
a
to the
question.
starting lineup real quick? Go ahead,
Absolutely.
Tyler. Just side
We'll
by
come
side
back.
comparison of the Pacers. Yeah, go ahead.
Right after we will. My question though that I really wanted to ask: Reggie Miller was a Pacer for 18 years. Obviously, we know Reggie Miller as the greatest Pacer ever. If Tyrese wins a championship this year, is he in that realm?
Of greatest Pacer ever?
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I think yes, because when you look at Reggie Miller, and this is going to be difficult to explain, but hopefully it makes sense. When you look at Reggie Miller, he wasn't the same caliber star as other stars of his generation, if that makes sense. He wasn't a Michael Jordan or a Clyde Drexler, right? There is, in my personal opinion, a decent gap between them, right? Clyde Drexler was a far more go-to, killer. Michael Jordan was fucking Michael Jordan, right? Nothing else to say. Reggie Miller was a phenomenal player and a star of his generation. He was hard to place in a superstar.
He was a specialist.
Field. He wasn't a specialist. He was more than that. It's
like
difficult to explain, but based on the nodding heads, I am going to assume you understand what I mean. My point is, because of Reggie Miller not being that caliber of a star, Tyrese, if you think about it, is also not that caliber of a star. They're very similar, so they play a very similar role in their generation. If Tyrese gets it done, it's something that Reggie Miller could never, being the same level of responsibility, the same level of impact to their team. They're both the engines that drive what these teams like to do. I think if he wins a championship, maybe because he hasn't been there long enough, that's where he loses the conversation. But if he wins a championship and stays here for the next 3-4 years, he is a better Pacer than Reggie Miller. I think so.
I don't think he loses the conversation though, Naj. That makes it even a bigger conversation. Like, damn, he never got one in 18 years, and he got one here in X amount of years he's been here. Like, I don't. I think it works against him for him.
Not to mention,
you know.
So I'm sorry to cut you off. Last thing I'll say,
You're good.
the teams were also similar. Reggie Miller never had this super talented team with a super talented co-star. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner, great players. But again, they're not that caliber of guys. Reggie Miller also never had that caliber of guys. I don't even know who Reggie Miller had, to be completely honest with you.
Weak link. It's a weak link team. This is Tyler's theory, but you were actually watching it. It's a weak link team. Everybody shares responsibilities. Everybody has a job, and they get it done. And they've been getting it done. So, yeah, it's weak. That's the only thing I think of. Shout out to Tyler.
Hey, no, shout out to whoever wrote that article, because it is true. Even right now, we're looking in the playoffs. All the teams left are weak league teams. Every single one. There's not a single strong link team left. Just how it works.
It's gonna be a good
build
watch.
around 3 superstars. It's impossible.
Yeah,
it's hard. But shout out to the Pacers, man, and best of luck to them. Another team who has also overcome all the odds and definitely shut down a lot of the hate that they received for some of the decisions that they made during the offseason. The Wolves are back in the conference finals once again. This time against a team unknown. It's going to be between the Nuggets and the Thunder. How do you guys feel about the Wolves? I think it was pretty obvious they would win after Stephen Curry went down. What do you guys think?
Man, I was wrong.
Couldn't mute myself fast enough.
I'll be honest. Randall has completely proved me wrong. He's playing a different brand of basketball I've never seen. Like, I saw Gilbert Arenas say something, and it was pretty funny. Oh, my bad. Well, real quick, I'll
go ahead.
Gilbert Arenas was talking about them playing in the playoffs and how, like, they have 2 sets of offense. So it's a normal set of offense where Julius Randle doesn't touch the ball, where they're passing, they're hitting threes, they're hitting cuts, they're doing all this. But then there's another form of offense they have where once Julius Randle touches the ball, it's like the 2003 Nuggets, just a bunch of like pivot steps, just a bunch of jab steps. They're posting up constantly, but like it's working really well. I was wrong about Randle. Charles Barkley said it too, and someone had brought it up at like on Reddit or somewhere I read. He said that he didn't think that the Wolves were even going to make it past the first round, and I didn't either. I thought that this was a really bad trade. This is apparently a really good trade. They have a chance to win the finals now. I really do think that.
It's cool. I think
That's cool.
when it's all said and done, no. I like that take because like at the end of the day, he's right. Like this was gonna go as far as Randle, how well as Randle was gonna play. He's a pivotal part. You replaced a unicorn with an average man now. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still 6'9". He's a big dude, but Cat's a different beast, you know. You kind of go smaller in a way, right? You don't do that double big lineup anymore. You're kind of going a little bit more what the NBA is now, and it works for them. And he's a great passer. He's showing he's a great passer because a lot of that was his problem. The ball stopped at him. People were getting assists off his passes. Like it's I just that take is good, and I say it's cool because it's like I didn't think about giving someone him flowers, but he was averaging damn near 25 against the Warriors, against Draymond being the primary defender on him. And then they went to go get Trace Jackson. He wasn't doing anything. He was definitely in a class of his own when it came to scoring. Even when Anthony Edwards wasn't playing well, he stepped up and kind of like, even though we still noticed that he wasn't playing well, he kind of like took a lot of that pressure off Anthony Edwards. So where he did perform, he kind of put the light right back on him. So it works very well. And I like how they get along and how he is and how Anthony's, keeping this team accountable. Like Gobert was going to talk. A reporter asked him, how do you feel about, going to the Western Conference Final? Anthony Edwards like cut him off and said, hey, he don't feel any type of way about it. We've been here already. And a 23-year-old man taking charge of that team like that. He told Mike Conley, "Get off! You have too many questions that you're asking." Like that's his team, bro. It's in every way. Randle is a reflection of Edwards, and Edwards is a reflection of Randle. And I really enjoy watching the Warriors get their ass kicked. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Randle is their long-term solution, but shout out to him for putting up the performance that he has been. He's proved me wrong. I of course did not think Randle would be a great fit for this team. I don't know how they move forward, but what they're doing right now is working, and I see a lot of potential in it. Shout out to those supporting cast for showing up to the games and doing what they need to do to help this team succeed because. Edwards hasn't really transcended to another level in the playoffs where as you expect a star to do. He's pretty much played to the same level that he was playing in the regular season. He's damn near been the same player with an improved rebounding number. But his scoring has been relatively the same. His efficiency has been the same. For the most part, he's been relatively the same general player that he was in the regular season. But he's that's good because he was a damn good player in the regular season, of course. It's great to see that they haven't needed him to reach that level. They beat the Lakers in 5. They beat the Warriors in 5. They're well rested, and those guys like to play defense. Rest is their best friend. You know what I mean? And more energy for them to exert when it's time to play whoever they play next. But where do the Warriors go from here? That's the real question. What do they do to continue to make these attempts to help Curry contend in the later parts of his career?
I don't think you make a big change. I think you try to run this back one more time because this team started very late in the season, and they did start off great, and they might have beat the Wolves if Steph doesn't go down. I do think that they had a good chance at that.
I agree.
I think you retool slightly. I think they need I think they kind of need to get rid of this Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but trying out Jonathan Kuminga is not working. He is a ball stopper. There is 2 times I watched in this series at minimum where somebody cut to the basket, nobody around them, clean cut to the basket, and he dribbled it out and then did a turnaround mid range. So I understand why he gets benched a lot, but I think you have some assets you could trade to add in maybe another wing, maybe a power forward or maybe even a more consistent two other than Podziemski. And I think this team does look pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I
Oh,
think they need to find a certified center though that can be a
for
consistent
sure.
role. I'm very curious how someone post can. I just don't know if he has it in him. But you never know. It's definitely possible. It would be cool to see if they can experiment that. But you might want to get more proven guys at this point if you're trying to contend and see what this team can do to help be a competitor to end your career potentially for an actual championship, not just a second round or conference finals. I think they run it back too. I think they don't overreact to. Excuse me, I'm sorry. They don't overreact to this. They need to keep their cool. They lost. You didn't have your best player. It's you don't like to say it out loud, but it's expected. That's just a fact. So accept it and move on. But yes, I don't like Kuminga. For the same reasons I don't like players like Jalen Green. It's just he plays bad basketball. It really is that. He plays bad basketball. He has to have an improvement on the IQ side of things. He is a ball stopper. He does take bad shots. He does think more highly of himself than he should. If he was more willing to fit in the system and play a role that's going to help the team win, that could eventually elevate him. But being a forward on this team means he's essentially never going to be a starter. That's pretty much what it's going to boil down to. So I think they need to move on from him. I don't know what the league thinks about him. I don't know what his value is, but I agree. They need to move on.
I think
He's highly athletic.
his value is pretty. Yeah, he's really athletic. I think his value is the same as DeAndre Hunter. You put him on your bench, you let him go out there, and you just kind of like let them kind of do his thing. Like it's his realm. Build an offense around him. Players that can benefit around him off the bench. I think his ceiling is being potentially a 16 to 15 point scorer off the bench at his best. At his best. But I've already seen reports that the Warriors are going to be aggressive. And I think I side with Nas. I think you look at what the Clippers are going to do this offseason to see if they're going to keep that together and blow it up. You go get a Zubac. I think he fits perfect with that offense. He gives them size. Or you go look at Demonte Sabonis. He's also available. He fits with Curry. He fits with Jimmy, and Draymond can hide his lack of ability of being able to guard that position, the
What'd
big
you
man
say?
position. I think they have options. I think they have a lot of picks. I think they should keep Pod.
Who did you
I
say?
think Pod
I missed
is a
it.
lot.
Sabonis.
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 It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I do think Pod should stay. He's a great player. He kind of works well with Curry. He's a little bit more of a passer than Curry is at times, but he's relying. You can rely on him to score. He can give you. He's kind of got like this Austin Reeves kind of look feel to him, where you can rely on him. He can give you some buckets. He can pass the ball. He can grab some rebounds. Kind of give you a little bit of everything.
Do the Warriors? Do
But
the
yeah,
Warriors have
Kuminga
a new
has to
player
go.
that you're talking about? Because it can't be the same guy I'm thinking of.
Pod. I'm
I
saying
don't think.
I
I
want
don't
them to
think you
move.
can
I want
rely on
them to
him to
move on
score at
from
all.
Pods.
I don't think so. I think Kerr has a really big liking to him. I think Steph Curry does too. I don't. I mean, I know during the trade line his name was mentioned a lot, but I think he's earned his right to stay there. I think they need to get rid of Moses Moody. I think that's a player they should get off. I think he's got a lot of value. I think Jonathan Kuminga's contract, they can bring in a better player with a contract like his if they re-sign and trade. I think they have the ability to kind of maneuver, but it's definitely going to be a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga, though. It's just the pieces they're going to give up with him. I think Moses Moody will be
Yeah,
on the move before
I
Pod.
want Kuminga, I want Pods, and I want Moody. Like if those three are traded, I think you can come up with something. But I do not think if you are starting any of those three next year, I do not think you can win. And if you have
No, I
big
think Pod's
minutes
coming off the bench.
for Pods, no, that's what I was going to say next. If you have big right now, remember he's only a second year player. big minutes for Kuminga, big minutes for Pods, I think is a recipe for disaster for them right now.
Yeah.
Right now, though.
If you get rid
I
of
think
one,
Pods takes time to develop, but I don't think the Warriors are good at developing. I think that's a big issue.
I think you can prioritize getting rid of Kuminga and Moody more because I think Pod's biggest issue is he needs to be a role player consistently, and I think that's one of his biggest issues. He doesn't provide his role player responsibility every single night,
Correct.
and when you're a role player, it's it sucks to say, but your level of responsibility is less than most players on your team because you're just meant to do very little things throughout the game, but we just want you to do them every night. You know what I mean? You're not expected to score 20.
Consistency.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
But he doesn't do that. Thank you. He doesn't do that consistently, and that's tough to have. I do see the potential in him being able to be a consistent role player, though. But I do think they need to move on from Kuminga and Moody because talented players that are just not going to fit in consistently. They're just not going to get the minutes consistently. I like Moody. He just doesn't get the playing time. I like Kuminga in a different place, maybe on a worse team, unfortunately to say, but it's not going to work on the Warriors. And if you're not going to get rid of them, then honestly, you might just have to get rid of Steve Kerr because you're just wasting money at that point. Put a coach on the fucking bench that's going to play them. One or the other has to happen. It's either they play or they don't play, but you're keeping them for no reason at this point.
Yeah, I think the ceiling is the same though. If you keep that team together, like the same exact team, a second round team. I don't think they get past the second round. I mean, it just depends because you got to think about it. Like next year, people are maturating. Anthony Edwards has more time under his belt. Shea has more time under his belt. There's teams that are bubbling that are going to be better. Houston, the road's not going to be
maturating
sweet.
Is crazy. Maturating.
Oh, I didn't realize what you said.
Maturating.
Maturing. That's
I just
crazy.
Maturation.
Crazy.
There's a maturation that happens when the
matrimony.
There you go.
I don't think the Warriors ever win again. I don't think it's possible for them. I think they could. You have to keep trying because like they got an arena, but like come on now, come on. Let's be realistic.
It can though.
Do you guys expect the Warriors to win next year?
I don't.
If they can land like, it depends on who they can land. If they land a Joel Embiid, I mean that's like in our dreams of dreams, and they can keep him healthy. That's a scary team.
You know, trade
they need someone of that caliber.
I think would actually look really good. And we haven't got to see it before, but what would it look like if the Suns traded KD to the Warriors? What does that team look like?
Like a winning team.
I'm trying to think. Like I'm imagining KD in like blue and yellow. He'd look pretty nice in that, I think.
Let's make with like 2 rings.
Let's make a
like
Photoshop.
They win 2 championships in a row.
Let's make a Photoshop.
Actually, yeah. I'll make a Photoshop and we'll put it as the trailer or the thumbnail.
It's AI, guys.
All right. Well, moving on to a team that does have a chance of winning a championship. Two series that are still alive. We got the Nuggets versus the Thunder. I lost my train of thought there.
On right now.
It's on right now. The Thunder are up 3-2. The Nuggets trying to take it to Game 7 here, potentially come out of this series winning. What do you guys think the odds are? Are the Thunder going to close it in 6? If they go to 7, are the Thunder guaranteed to win? Or if they take it to 7, do the Nuggets have a real chance?
Before you make your decision, right now it's 47-44. 4 minutes left in the second quarter. OKC is up. Never mind. Shea just hit the most ridiculous shot I've ever seen. It's out 49-44.
Okay. So my take on this is if they make it a Game 7, Game 7s, we all know, are 50-50s. There's no, you're going to win, Game 7's 50-50, but they got to win tonight. Well, I mean, the Clippers also fucking sucked when it mattered, like James Harden always does. So they should have known what happens. But at the end of the day, yeah, if they go to Game 7, it's 50-50. But if they don't, I mean, they close it out tonight. It's over. It's through.
What do you think they're going to do, though?
I think it goes to Game 7, but I do think the Thunder take it in Game 7.
I think if it goes to
I
Game
think
7, they
if I'm
lose.
gonna have
I
a
think. Okay.
no, I was gonna say I think the Nuggets win Game 7. I'm with you, Tyler.
Yeah,
If it goes Game
if
7.
I genuinely do believe if OKC does not close it out now, it's over.
I think it's possible. I wouldn't argue against it at all. What do we do with Michael Porter Jr.? That's the question of the day.
He can't lift
He's
his head
terminally
over his
injured,
head, bro.
He's doing it though.
He's really hurt.
But the issue is he's always hurt. He's hurt every year. That's the issue, man. It's not like this is a one-time thing anymore. He came in hurt. He was hurt the next year. He was hurt the year after. The year they won the championship.
Like
he got drafted low because he was
keep
hurt.
in the league.
Yeah, he came in hurt. He's gonna leave hurt. He's hurt right now. He's gonna be hurt tomorrow. He's hurt when he wakes up, bro. He's hurt. You can't do anything about this. He's eternally on fucking hydrocodone. He's constantly on pain meds. He is dying on the court every day. Decrepit. Body's decomposing. That's what happens when you go vegan.
Man.
Yeah, I agree. Vegans
Shout
are real.
out to my vegan community, please.
No, I'm happy Ethos closed.
Man, I like Ethos.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I never got to try it. I'm not happy, but yeah, I don't know, bro. Because like, when do you have to? At some point, a team will trade for Michael Porter Jr. and you will get assets from it. At what point do you like kind of just give up on hoping that he's gonna be healthy? Because he's just not. And even when he's healthy, sometimes he's just really inconsistent. He's not the star I thought he would have been.
Yeah,
I could say that.
His bag is just too big to trade. Like I mess around on 2K all the time with like the AI generated trades. His bag is just too big, and like at this point, you're best of trading him off for some picks and just see you later. Like because you're not gonna get anything valuable in return unless you add a piece with him. You know, like a Christian Braun. You know, it's not gonna be a straight up trade for him for any real good NBA player.
Do you flip Murray and Porter to get a star caliber player to match up with Jokic?
I actually don't think that you flip Murray. I think Murray's been inconsistent, but I think it's because of the team around him a little bit more than himself. I think if hey, hot take here, Michael Porter Jr., Cam Johnson swap.
Straight up.
You'll have to get him some salary from the Nets, but hey, you're gonna have to give him a pick too. Probably.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, I like that a lot.
Say it again. How much is what? Michael Porter Jr. is making 35, and I think Cam Johnson, last I checked, is making 20.
Damn,
23.
That's
yeah,
but I like
that's
that.
35 this year, 38 the next year, 40 the year after.
Yeah. God damn.
But yeah, I like that a lot. Johnson is a perfect fit for them. I don't know if it's fair to keep going with this, this pseudo Jamal Murray. I think just go for somebody who that in every single game, regardless of, and I think that's the situation for you. But he's a bad pair. He is a great pair. Just a more consistent would be a better Jokic going forward. I like that.
But who would that be?
Opposed to Devin.
Oh yeah, actually.
I think Devin Booker makes
I'm
more
not gonna
sense
lie.
with Jokic.
Devin Booker has a on his team. He places the level of Michael Porter Jr. Is the star caliber pseudo. I'm gonna keep calling it Jamal Murray. He's a good fit. You put a point team that's more of a role type of point guard in this situation now, with the potential to have picks. Jamal Murray is able to get it done.
I don't think it would
go
be
non-traditional at point guard though.
So
Like they could go get a scoring guard, like a scoring point guard. They don't have to like I get what you're saying. They
I
could go
think
get
a
like a
two-way
bigger point guard, like
more favorable.
yeah, exactly. I get what you're saying.
Because Jamal Murray's a pretty decent defender. I would say he's at least average, at least.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
So
I like it.
you don't want to replace him with the Trae Young.
Explorer. I definitely think the Suns out. Podcast on this.
I think a player's archetype who I would look at would be like a DeJounte Murray. Someone like that. Someone who can run. He's a bigger guard who can defend. He'll play.
Yes. I agree. In a lesser role. Not in the roles that he's in the last 3 years. No.
Yeah,
a lesser
like
role
as a third,
and he
fourth
can
option.
shoot. I want him to also be able to shoot because DeJounte is not a shooter.
I think he's not a shooter, but he's not like a shooter. You know, like a weapon. He needs to knock down a better clip for.
He's clutch too.
What I would say is lesser role. And talking about with Devin Booker. Idea we're talking about.
Yeah, with Devin Booker. With Devin Booker.
On a lesser and in a where he's just a two-way. You can get. Not asking you to primary scoring option, secondary. You can, we can get something happen. Create if necessary, especially when Jokic can create for the. You already know he's better. I think it's something.
He would be
that's
their
a
best.
lot of trades happen though. I don't know if that's. I'm just saying from fit. If he's playing a left, not if he's of the last. That's the
no
clash.
No.
I agree.
He would definitely be the fourth option in my eyes, maybe third. But when it came to facilitating, he would be right behind Jokic. And I think when it comes to like being a primary defender, because Devin Booker's not an all-world defender. He's a decent defender, but like having someone who can go guard the scorers primarily, he's kind of dope to have there. And you're not even losing Aaron Gordon on the other side of things at power forward. Like, it's just, I think that's a dope little mix for him. I mean, this is all fantasy ball that we're talking about, but if we're talking fits with Jokic, that would be amazing. That would be great.
Yeah, Booker is like one of the ideal because Booker plays much better off ball, or at least not as a point guard, I would say.
As a two guard, yeah, for sure.
He would get the same level of freedom as Chris Paul with the engine that how this team operates. Chris with that would be that as well. I think Jokic scorer his most caliber of a scorer. I do think Jokic bringing it to about a 25 game clip is a better play style because his I think drive winning than him in my personal. And if be a 28 points per game guy, maybe go super for a year, 30, 32, being that, and Booker is the bucket that Jokic gets. I think it's a fun, and I think it's a than Murray. I don't think Murray could actually that height. I think has in right.
I would like it.
Funny Murray like for Murray.
Listen, one injured Murray for another injured Murray.
Yeah.
Hey.
Knicks versus the same question: if the Game 7 does enough to win the series, yes or no?
Wait, say it again. You cut out.
I can mute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying if they can take it to game, do they have it in them to win this series or?
Yeah, it's Game 7 in Boston. I mean, of course, as Pluto said, once you get to Game 7, it's a 50-50. And realistically speaking, this might be a hot take, but I think even without Tatum, I do think that this Celtics roster should be better than the Knicks roster currently. The play styles are obviously an issue, relying on a 3-point shot. But I do genuinely believe talent for talent wise that Celtics roster is better. Roster wise.
Agree or I'm just going to be right in the middle. I understand what you're saying and get on board with it. I would get to the Knicks because the Knicks have players who haven't consistently been who they're supposed to be, whereas the are consistently being who they're supposed to be. And it's just one of the most players in this league. He can step up. He really can. 100% go out there and give you 25 when needed and it's needed. Jaylen Brown is supposed to have it. And the versus Jason, I'm always Jason. I do understand Jaylen has to the team. I think this well, he needs to be Porzingis. They get to games, they can win this. 100% believe they. However, I'm in favor of series being. That would be my ultimate. If it goes, I agree.
Yeah, I want the series to end in New York.
I'm gonna paint this picture for you guys. All right, I'm gonna get real metaphorical. Y'all close your eyes. You're in New York. It's Game 6. The hot dog guy's going crazy. Everybody's going to the game, right? The ball hits tip off, right? Celtics are going fucking home. That's the end of the story.
That's what I want. I want that. That's what I want.
There's definitely a delay, by the way, guys. The delay is definitely there. But I can see what Tyler's saying when it comes to firepower. They still got Porzingis. He can give you one, maybe half a game, of some decent basketball. They still have Derek White. They still have Jaylen Brown. They still got Drew Holiday. They still got Horford. They still have winners. They still have Pritchard. That's still a championship roster at the end of the day. With him being there or not, this is literally the exact same team. So I get what Tyler's saying, but I just there's no way that Game 6 against the Boston Celtics in the Garden, the Knicks don't walk away unless you're Hard Rock and you put a plus 400, a negative 400 for the Knicks, and plus for Boston, and you pick Boston to win. That's the only time that I would say that everything's going to come crashing down. But at the end of the day, I just don't see the Celtics walking away with a W.
Listen, I'm gonna contradict that I ever said about the Knicks and trade. They cannot get this after Jason Tatum going the Wolves one.
Oh yeah,
I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
If they
because listen,
and let me. This is the specific I'm referring to.
We talked about this, Nas, before we were on Rival. Make sure you get this take right, okay?
Yeah, I'm
yesterday.
I'm not referring to it further. That's not what I'm about. I'm talking about this team got injured. The best player. If you cannot get it done in this big trade, you lost the trade. That's done. That team lost their best player. They got it done. So if this team lost their best player and you get it done, you lost the trade. Has nothing to do with
listen,
further.
This is an all-time bailout right now. I really do believe that because the Celtics, hot take, I think the Celtics lost more than the Knicks won. I think the Celtics sticking to the game plan of jump shooting, even after Mitchell Robinson has been taken out in 3 different games now, continuing to shoot is what lost them the game. That's what lost them the series. Like the Knicks, I ask you guys this genuinely. I really want you to think about this. For the entire 48 minutes of basketball, were the Knicks playing good in any of these games?
No. Like literally to like
48.
the 5-minute mark in the third quarter. 5-minute mark in the third quarter.
Bro, they never play well.
Open shot. They're Jalen Brunson is not consistently Brunson. He does get clutch. That's just. I don't think there's a point in his life not produce. Minutes of a fourth.
Bridges has been playing like shit offensively.
But
for sure.
In general,
Cat's non-existent.
Yeah. They been playing great. They have greatness, comebacks, but it's more the same bad. It's playing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you get to Game 7, that's why the Knicks. I really want you guys to close. Like, I'm not talking about obviously, but I really want the Knicks to close it out on Friday because, like, bro, Game 7, it's up to like pure chance of who is waking up mentally prepared for that. One team who's won a championship already with the Finals MVP still there versus a team that just added a new player in Karl Anthony Towns, and
That's
like we haven't seen Michael Bridges. We haven't seen if he could be a dog yet. We know Cat's not a dog. Jalen Brunson, like he gets injured almost every close game that they have. So like I fully expect him to lose a hand or something. I don't know. You have to close it out on Friday. You cannot go to 7 at home for the Celtics.
Was that
with Jaylen Brown? Say it again?
Was that pun?
Listen, it was pun repentance.
Oh my.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I got another funny thing to say too. I think we do need to have a cat dog moment. Shout out to my '90s kids. He has to be cat dog. For this game 6, he has to show up. He has to be. The I think he has to be the best big man that night. On both sides, and on top of this, I think we need like a 40-piece bucket with a 2 extra sauce and a Coke from Jalen Brunson because he needs to shut this series out. I think being the clutch player is bigger than just being clutch for 2 minutes. We need a clutch game. And I think this game needs, like most of us believe, I think this will be a big Jalen Brunson game. I don't think this relies on Mikal. I think they're going to be contributors, Mikal and OG, but I think he just needs to do what superstars do, and prove why we rated him higher than Shea on our list and get this shit closed out. Because he's had one of the most exciting playoffs runs. Yeah. Oh,
y'all
my bad. and he's come through for me this year.
Me.
He's come through.
No, but you're right though. You can't step it up. He's done the same thing almost every game so far. He's played pretty well in the first, pretty awful the second and the third, and then amazing the last 5 minutes of the fourth. That can't happen this time. Start off right away. But I do actually think opposite to what you said. I think Bridges is going to be the secret here.
Listen, let's with our final predictions. How is the rest going to play out? Who's winning left? Who's and who's give your right now.
I'll go first. I think
we have a dark horse team.
It is
and a regular team for the finals. Real quick, can we throw that in there?
Straight up, who's winning?
Okay.
I think the Timberwolves make it out the West, and then I think it is the Pacers that make it out the East. And I think that is the all-time
Nuggets
worst rated stadium.
Nuggets versus Wolves.
Nuggets versus Wolves?
Nuggets or versus Wolves? Which one?
One more time.
You have the Nuggets going up against the in the next round.
Oh, the Thunder. I have the Thunder closing it out today.
Thunder versus
Wolves.
Thunder.
My bad. I heard
Wolves going to the finals.
Wolves going to the finals against the Pacers, and I have the Pacers winning it all.
So, I've been talking about this all day with a lot of my coworkers, and the more I look at it, the more I see it. Good coach team, a weakling team, like Tyler likes to say, my new favorite word of the day. I think the Pacers are my dark horse team, but I'm going to give you the story. I think the Pacers beat the Knicks in 6. I think the Wolves lose to OKC, actually. I think I'm going to go with Tyler's pick. I think OKC makes it to the finals. I think then again, and I'm thinking about it in my head. And
I got the Wolves going to the finals.
Go Wolves.
I don't got OKC.
Yeah.
I got the Wolves.
No, you did in the beginning of the year. You had the OKC going to the finals and winning. Yeah. But the more I look at them versus the Nuggets and how they deal with physicality, I'm a tiptoe to the Wolves. All right, on my head, that kind of bases everything. I'll go with the Wolves, and I think the Pacers' play style will be too fast for the Wolves, and I think the Wolves will get, like every great superstar gets, their first L on a big stage to a team that is a weak league team. So I think that's what's going to happen.
I got the Thunder beating the Wolves going to the finals. I got the beating the Pacers going to the finals, and winning the. I do think the Knicks though. It's interchangeable. I'm gonna pick the Knicks. It's interchangeable. The Pacers could win.
As long as the Nuggets don't make the finals, all 4 of these teams will win their first ever NBA championship, right?
Yes.
NBA, not ABA.
Not.
I think out of
Knicks. The Knicks have
real quick. My last
70s.
take before we go, guys. I think out of all the players, I think Jokic, if he can get his way into beating the Wolves, which is going against my pick, I think the Nuggets can win it all. Though, I think after that they don't have anybody in the play in at all who can guard him. I mean, the Wolves beat them last year, but we'll see what happens. But like, if the Nuggets get past the Thunder, I think the Nuggets can win it all, just based off experience and being there.
I'll finish it. I don't believe an active team out of all the teams currently still active. I don't believe them cannot. I don't say them cannot.
I do think there's one that I don't think can win. I unfortunately do think it's the Pacers or the Celtics.
I think
after the
I still think
injury.
I think they're the least, but I do believe they can. That's how I wrap. I'm starving, so you hit that subscribe button in the comment section. This far, give us a little. Share with all your friends and all the Hoopers. Man, shout out to you tapping in. Hoop out.